It is the Rock and Comedy Show. That's the music of Ashley Red, everyone. Yay! Their new album is available out now, so check it out on iTunes. A few reminders. Don't forget our good friends, Juan Flame of Fajita and Cantina. They now have their text club, so it's very important that you text 40518 and then put in their JFFC. Start getting really cool discounts like 2 for 1 on Thursdays and a free cheese quesadilla because you're a friend of the Rock and Comedy Show. Yeah, that's right.
It's a great deal.
Hooking you up with free cheese quesadillas. And don't forget, November 9th at noon over at Naked City Pizza, they are doing $30 all you can eat and drink for baseball games all day long. So just go over there and buy the wristband, $30. Not just pizza, but all their fine menu items and things like that. I believe the first day they're even roasting the whole pig.
Oh,
so
nice.
$30, all you can eat and drink.
It's a hell of a deal. $30
So
for
you
just.
gotta get a cab
Yeah,
to go
that's.
over there.
Oh yeah, please definitely don't drive over there because
Definitely. But joining us right now in the studio up here on the 44th floor, John Katz, everybody.
What's up?
What up?
Johnny Katz.
From the sun to the 44th floor.
I missed some floors, like the first.
Well, the
floor.
elevator goes so fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I blacked out there when I walked in, and here we are. Yep.
And check your wallet because Darius could have mugged you.
Oh, you're Darius.
no. Darius is a black gentleman because Jay's racist.
I thought Darius was the dog. No,
Well, that's racist.
it's doggist, caninist.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
See
Yeah,
you all over town, so I said
Yeah.
that guy has to come on.
we see each other. Yeah, we've been seeing each other a lot lately.
Yeah, a lot.
Out there in the field. Yeah, Inspire Theater. We're just there for the Ent Speak show.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
that was very
and
good.
Some other places. Yeah. Well, thank you for inviting me. I dig it.
Absolutely. And that's your time. No, I'm just kidding. We just wanted to prove you were here.
Yes, I'm here.
So you write the part of the entertainment column for the Las Vegas Sun.
Yes, I'm the column I write is called the Katz Report, and it lives on the Las Vegas Sun website and in print. And it's a man about town, run around, collect information and write it up kind of column. And I also write for all the other titles in Greenspun Media Group. So that's Las Vegas Weekly and the Sunday news magazine we have, and Las Vegas Magazine, and also Vegas Magazine. So
when the
weekly
puts out their vote for your favorite thing and you get to fill it in, the last 2 years they've voted us as the best podcast.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row because this year, last year and the year before.
I made that happen.
You know, that's nice. You have that kind of power.
I did. We'll do it again next year. And I asked for no payola, no kickbacks or anything. No.
But how about
So
a
far.
Reese's peanut butter cup? Will
Oh
that
my
seal
God.
the deal?
Oh, those things are lethal. That's my favorite candy.
Oh, they're the
It
best.
is.
Peanut butter cup?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Peanut butter and chocolate.
You know what
together,
makes it
just
worse
think
is
about
that it's 75% off now because Halloween's over. So it was like, how can you not? You walk into the grocery store and they have a shopping cart and it's like
can't afford not to, really.
70%
Right?
off.
You're losing money if you're not buying
they pay
Reese's
for
the day
themselves
after
in like 3 or 4
Thanksgiving.
days.
Right.
Yeah.
Some kid in China is starving if you don't buy
Yeah,
those.
most kids in China, I
Yeah.
think, are starving for one reason
That
or
was the
another.
guilt trip they gave me.
Whether I buy the Reese's peanut butter cups or not, but I'll mail them some coupons for Reese's peanut butter cups.
Or the empty
Hopefully in
wrappers. I
Shanghai.
can smell them.
Super cruel.
But yeah, I'm all over town. I'm a scenester. I'm a journalist. I do some TV. I'm on the radio also, and just cover the city. I love doing it.
I gotta bring this up. Murray Sawchuk sent me a text and he said, "Hey, bring this up with John today." So
It has to do with Murray.
it does have something to do with that. What was your first clue? That Murray said you have to mention it.
Let me see if he's texted me. What is it about Murray?
This is FYI interesting tidbit that John wrote today about Chris Angel going to Foxwoods. I was booked there, and they canceled the date and bumped me to February. Didn't know why, and now I see Chris Angel has those.
So
dates.
Murray had the dates that Chris has taken this month.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
So I told Murray, I go, man, you're getting the shaft all over.
Murray was. Well, you know this. Murray. I won't say he was aggressively forced out of.
Yeah, you got the
Loud
shaft
Doctor.
there too.
But they brought in Jan Reuven to be in the big room, and 2 magicians under the same roof is not a good artistic or business model. It doesn't work. So that left Murray looking
Yeah.
for a place. And now I understand. I didn't know this until you just said it. Murray is back in Foxwoods on November 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Yeah.
So I'll plug Murray's shows. Oh, wait, no, I won't. I'll plug Chris Angel's shows. Sorry, Murray, if you're listening
Yeah.
or watching or connecting telepathically.
So yeah, he just thought
It's
that
funny
was-
because he favorited. He took a photo of the story about Chris Angel that I wrote. That's in today's paper, and he put it up on Twitter. Congratulations, Chris, and all this. You know, for
that's
the
why.
coverage.
Yeah, nice little dig.
I don't know.
Wow.
It's magicians. That's that corner. You know, the Strip and Tropicana is going to be a heavy competition among. It's Chris Angel, Jan Reuven, and David Copperfield. They're all within.
It's the magic corner.
yeah. It's the kind of corner. Oh, magic. Yeah, you can't.
And if Lance Burton was still at the Monte Carlo, yeah, that'd be crazy.
Did you ever see a show at the Monte Carlo?
I did.
Yeah,
He was
I loved it.
concierge at the Monte Carlo.
Oh, were you? Oh, wow. Yeah, that didn't.
That was quote unquote my real job.
Well, I loved Lance's show.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was always
great.
a good time.
Traditional, straight out, fantastic presentation of magic. I wish he was still doing it.
Yeah,
We need one more magician in Las Vegas.
I got it.
you got it.
do it?
You're on it.
No problem. Oh, see, I can't do that. I'm already the second best magician here.
Do that, Sawchuck.
Hey, when we
I'll be in
when we
Foxwoods,
had Jan Roven on the show the first time, it was right at the start of the controversy of Chris Angel stealing his act on Fremont Street. So that's kind of
Was
Ties
that
it
the
all together.
controversy? What was the deal there? It was
he stole the trick from Jan.
Jan. He alleged that Chris was copying his because Jan's been accused of doing that very thing in other areas. No, but with no, I'm not saying
Right.
he did or didn't, but other magicians have said that. That's an accusatory world.
I was say that whole
Magic.
world seems like it's very.
It's there's only, I think, what do they say, 7 things you can do in magic, really, 6 or 7.
Basic
medium.
tenets, but everything's a spin on that.
Yeah, spin, cut in half, disappear, reappear, all whatever they are, and after a while, you're going to be derivative of something.
Yeah, and then you're Penn and Teller, and they show you how everything works.
I love that show, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good show.
They show you the one act they unveil, but they do the thing that Teller does with the silhouette and the rose, the cutting of it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's what they do. I mean,
There's nothing like it on
it's
stage
always
in
been
Las
like
Vegas.
that.
I love it.
One of the first things I ever saw them do on stage was during Comic Relief, and Penn and Teller was up there, and they were talking about what it feels like to have a comedian die on stage from telling a bad joke. So every time Penn would
know
tell
that
a
feeling
bad
well.
joke, Teller would throw hot coffee on him or burn him with a cigarette, poke him with something. There's a series of things they were doing, and then he's like, "That's what it's like for a comedian to die on stage." No,
Pretty accurate.
it was
Yeah, that's really accurate. I know that feeling.
So you cover a lot of shows in town.
Yep.
What's one of the worst shows you've ever seen?
I covered. Oh boy, let me think about this one. There was a show. There was one called Nebulae Life Force that ran for about 10
It's already
days.
a terrible name.
I think it was at the Venetian when the Venetian first opened. To this day, I don't know what it was about. It was a ethereal, magical, misty. I think there was a mist in it, and it was bad.
Sounds like you're
news.
describing
When
a
was
Night
this?
Shyamalan
When
movie.
This was in '98 or '9. It was right after the Venetian opened.
Okay.
Right after the Venetian opened. That was very substandard. And there was a show at there are some shows that are just not fit for their venue. There was the show that they had at the old Wyrick Theater before David Sachs took it over. It was a bubble guy, a guy who worked with bubbles.
I
doing
remember seeing that guy.
Bubble-tastic, super burlesque bubble-tastic guy. And it's one of these acts, if you see it on the street, you think, God, that should be in a showroom in Las Vegas or a theater in Las Vegas. Then you see it in a theater in Las Vegas, no, it's probably better on the street. That was underwhelming. That was underwhelming. There have been a few. Surf the Musical was not a.
That was really horrible.
Yeah, it was just not well organized.
I mean, the music was good. Who doesn't
The
like the
music
Beach
was
Boys? I mean,
outstanding.
it was fine.
And the musicians in that show were great. And you know who's good, and really good, and it was Adrian Zemed.
Yeah, he was
the
awesome.
Principal, the surf shop owner. But I felt like it was just thrown together, and
it was rushed.
It was very rushed.
It seemed, there were
I
some
didn't like that
problems with
show.
it.
And I don't know. There's been a few others that I have been less. I didn't like Le Rêve when it opened. It was rough.
Well, it's like
when
it was
first
kind of like an O ripoff, sort of.
Uh-huh.
When
It was very Cirque, because Franco Dragone, the guy who brought, who worked on O and worked on Celine's show with the Cirque dancers, was the one who put Le Rêve on stage in the first place. And that was another one that wasn't ready. But over the course of time, it's become really a pretty fantastic show.
Do you feel bad when you give them a bad review in the paper?
I don't. Because
You can't.
I don't. My thing right now is I don't even do straight grade reviews on every show. I don't do that. That's not my thing. I don't go, oh, this was a B- show and this other one was an A+ show, and here's
Right.
why. I don't do that. I'm more analytical about what I do. If you're putting out something that I feel honestly merits coverage, I'll cover it. If there's something out there that I feel is really substandard, I probably won't give it the time of day. Or if there's something just aggressively ridiculous about it, I'll probably point it out. But I don't, because you're in that you're in the public, you're in the marketplace and asking for people's money, and I think there is some responsibility. I didn't like CeeLo's show either, by the way. Remember that over at the
Yeah, it was here
Planet
quick.
Hollywood? Yeah, I didn't like that
Oh,
one.
it's gone already?
I didn't even know
Yeah.
he had one.
It lasted like 3 days.
CeeLo was here. It was about a year and a half ago now, and I thought that show was cut rate. It didn't have the funding to do what CeeLo can do, and so instead of just writing 500 words and giving it a D- review or whatever, C- review, I talked to the producer and I really went into why this show wasn't what people would expect out of CeeLo. CeeLo Green is a fantastic concert performer and he's a great songwriter.
talented, yeah.
Yeah. He's a great showman, and they put him on stage and didn't have piano in the show. Sang to tracks. There was no band. They had room for 10 dancers, and the costuming was inferior, and it was weird, and he was just ill prepared to be on stage in Vegas, and he borrowed from the Liberace vibe, call it low Liberace, and it just didn't work, But I didn't go out and just say it sucked and give it an F, I went through and I had a conversation with the producer about how the stage was set up and why is it that this great piano player doesn't have piano to play? Why is it these songs that were so familiar don't have a backing band, yet you do spend money on a bunch of dancers? And that's kind of how I try to approach it. I don't feel bad when I do that either. No.
The last show I saw where I was like, what the fuck, was Sydney After Dark.
Yeah.
Really? You didn't like it at all?
No. No, and it's pretty bad when you can fall asleep during a topless show.
Did you fall asleep?
Yeah, I was dozing in and
Oh
out.
dear.
Yeah.
I like the singer in that show.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, that was good.
Natalie, what is her name? Holloway, was it?
Something like that. Yeah.
She's very good. It was too.
The room was
The
too
room
big
was
for
too
the
big
show.
for that show. They
Yeah.
realized that real quick, and it was kind of had a tough time in the marketing of that show too, because the women, you're in the middle of a city that has fantasy and ex-burlesque and Claire Sinclair and pinup, that's pretty aggressively sexy. In some of these adult shows, and these women were dressed in their billboards like in space suits or something, and you really didn't grasp what they were trying to achieve there. That was one problem, and it's a very targeted market, when you talk about people who are going to be interested in Australian adult women, and if you looked at Sydney After Dark and compared it to something like Fantasy, there's no comparison. Fantasy just is a super tight choreography, comes out and attacks you show, very just bang from the beginning to end. They've got a terrific singer too, and so that's what you're competing against. Anita Mann's choreography, a show that's been on stage for 15 years and knows what it's doing. It's tough to compete with that.
When I was concierge and working at the Monte Carlo, and Believe came out with Chris Angel, and they gave us. We went to sneak peek night or whatever, and they still had a lot of problems with it then. But I'll never forget the trap door not working, and you could see Chris trying to get out of this trap. I'll never forget that. And the next day we got an email, and they're like, "You can't trash the show. It's on MGM property. People want to buy tickets. You got to find a way to get around it." So we started going, "Are you a fan of his TV show?" "Yeah, it's nothing like that."
That's how you got around it.
Yeah. They're like, if you're expecting him to, levitate, it's not going to happen. But I mean, it was the first time we saw it was so bad, and people that we worked with were. I mean, we were leaving, and you could hear comments like, "Yeah, it's called Believe because they believe people are gonna go. I believe I want my money back." Yeah.
I know that he got some poisonous reviews and poisonous fans.
He changed it several times.
Yeah, he
but
went. That's the thing. That start would probably have undercut a lot of performers. But the show that he's putting on stage now is way beyond what he started with.
he was beatboxing in the first version of the show. I'm like, nobody wants to see Chris Angel beatbox.
Sounds
He was.
Yeah,
Was he? I don't remember that.
I think he did it like a couple of nights, and then they're like, "That's not working." Because we went like one of the very first like employee preview nights or whatever, and we were just like, "What is this?"
Yeah. Well, Have you seen the show lately?
It's been a while, but I've heard it's better.
Got to check it out. Yeah, I love Maestro. His sidekick is terrific. They've got the backing crew is great. He's got great people around him. I mean, he's got the way they uses the birds is great. And,
Yeah.
But it would have crippled many entertainers the way that show started. And I'll tell you this: no matter what you think of the show, nobody works harder than Chris Angel.
Right. Yeah, he promotes very well.
He busts his ass. He promotes. He is always looking to improve the stage show. He's doing not just this show in Foxwoods in November, but the other one, the ensemble show called The Supernaturalists, which he's the producer of. It's a version of that Magic Jam that he did when he was out with his shoulder injury at the Luxor. This is a kind of an upper level of that, and that probably will be a touring production under his domain, under his empire. So I think he's done a great job not only of recovery but expanding what he's got. I do feel bad for Murray though, losing those dates in Foxwoods. Felix Rappaport's the president of Foxwoods, and he was the president of Luxor when Chris signed his deal. And he's enacting all those shows.
There you go.
Yeah, Carrot Top's going to be back there this weekend, and Menopause is there, the musical. I've got a version of that at Foxwoods. It's also a Luxor thing.
There you go.
Yeah, it's starting to take on that Luxor vibe back there. I've never been to Foxwoods, so.
What are your top 3 shows in town? What do you like the best?
Oh my God, that's such a hard question. I always get hung up on this. The way I rank shows is we're pretty much based on genre. I mean, I like I'm buddies with Frankie Marino, and I think what Frankie does as far as a pure entertainer is peerless. I think he is the model for how to deliver a show over a 90-minute course of 90 minutes. 5-star show. Not many of them around. He's one of them. I like him a lot. I love Penn and Teller. You mentioned Human Nature. I like that. As far as production shows go, I'm a big fan of Jersey Boys. I think that cast is fantastic.
That's an amazing show, yeah.
They're losing a couple. Devin May and Jeff Lebo this month are leaving the show. But it's a machine. It's a terrific experience. My favorite Cirque show is Love, because I'm a big Beatles fan. But that MJ1 is hard to beat. Those 2 shows are terrific. My favorite comic is Carrot Top. I'm a big Carrot Top fan. I just saw him the other night.
I was shocked how much I enjoyed that show when I saw it.
Everybody says that, right?
I mean, he kind of gets I'm a stand-up comic, but he gets a bad rap among, just because prop. Any comics are assholes. They automatically hate anyone who's just not standing there with a mic in their hand.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I'll give it a fair shot, and I was laughing hard the whole time.
I remember the first time I ever talked to Carrot Top was when he was at the MGM Grand. He was playing the Hollywood Theater, and I talked to him before the show. And this was in the days of the AT&T commercial, if you remember those.
Oh yeah.
1-800-AT. Those, I don't think to this day, I think those commercials were a disservice to him because they didn't reflect what he does on stage, which is fantastic. And those commercials were really stupidly written. Oh yeah. And there was a series of them. It was like they wouldn't stop.
They were for years.
Yeah, they went on forever.
Let's not forget his blockbuster movie, Chairman of the Board.
Chairman of the Board. Yeah.
Chairman of the Board. I remember that.
Anyway,
well.
there's but
Yeah.
this is his career at the time. But he did tell me, he goes, that prop comics, there was a discrimination, a prejudice against them from those who were the stand at the mic guys and did topical and observational humor. Mm-hmm. And they said that they expect everybody to be like Rip Taylor was his example. Okay, this is a shoe and this is a shoehorn. That kind of thing. That's not what Carrot Top's all about. He's always moving around looking for ways to bring what happens in the world through a prop in his show.
Still clever, too.
He had 2 nights. It was the night after the Jose Canseco thing happened. I saw him, not that night, but the night after. one day. He had a prop about the Jose Canseco shooting his
Yeah, he's
finger off.
quick.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was an easy one, a baseball glove with a finger cut out of it. It's Jose Canseco's glove. It's a 5-second joke, but people went nuts, and it was
Yeah.
right now. And unless you've got your eye on the ball, you're not going to come up with that, you know. But he. Yeah, I think it's a larger issue with prop comics anyway. You know, I think Gallagher went through that, and I think certainly they got people like Rip Taylor, who was pretty much a kind of schlocky. There was the people who were like the George Carlins of that time looked down on him.
Yeah.
But Carrot Top will make you laugh all the way through.
That's the thing. It was funny. No matter. I mean, bottom line is the comedy show should be funny, and it was
Yeah.
funny, and it's funny. That's
You
bottom
haven't-
line.
The first segment of that show is just tears you up.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes.
let's just be honest, Halpin. You like it because he gives you whiskey.
I just,
The Crown.
Yeah.
Part of that Crown.
Yeah.
The Crown is going.
and I've met him a bunch of times. He is the nicest dude.
No, yeah, he's
could not be a nicer
he's
guy.
an awesome guy.
So
Every time I've seen his show, it's always different. Every single
Yeah.
time.
Oh, he brought out a whole trunk of redneck stuff that I'd never seen before, and I've
really?
seen him at least every 6 months and probably every couple months. I've seen his show a bunch of times. And about 5 years ago, when I really got to know him, I wrote a huge story about him in Las Vegas Weekly, where I really got to spend time with him and watch him work. And it was at the time. Remember the Balloon Boy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
working
yeah.
on a prop about the Balloon Boy,
Was
and that was
5 years ago.
that was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
crazy.
exactly when it was. And the end of the story was how he made the balloon work on stage, and it hovered. It was a little cutout person hovered on a silver balloon. Then it came up and stopped and hung there for the entire show. And we were talking about this before, and he was trying to figure out a way to get this thing to stay still and hover. And he somehow did it. I couldn't figure out how he did it. I spent like 2 weeks with this guy. I saw the show many times, writing his story, and it's just an epic story. I'm like, how the fuck did he do this? And I went on the stage after that show, and I went over to where the prop was. It was on a ribbon. It was on the ribbon of the balloon, and he had it cut out, a little white cardboard figure, really crude, and he had tied the ribbon around a bottle of water, and the bottle of water was sitting out of sight behind one of the trunks. It was that simple.
Wow.
And so when he
Oh,
let it go, it
nice.
just like boop, it stopped, and everybody went freaked out. That was how he did it.
That's pretty
Yeah,
smart.
they tried everything though. They tried to calibrate the weight of the balloon with the guy's too heavy, the guy's too light, and it was like there's got to be a way to get around the. They had like all these cutouts of these little, these cutout figures, these little figures, different sizes to try and make
Yeah.
And then he thought, it was
simplest of solutions is the best.
That's what makes him great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I dig the guy. So anyway, those are my favorite shows. There are many others that I like. I mean, surprising. I love Donnie Marie. I think Celine Dion is spectacular.
Donnie and Marie
I
are my
love Donnie Marie.
cousins.
They're your cousins?
What,
No.
really?
Yeah, by marriage. Yeah, my dad's sister married. They're Larry Osmond, who is the brother to Jack. So yeah, by marriage, they're my cousins. Yeah.
Wow. The sun never
I
sets
don't like
on an
to. I don't
island.
like to throw that around, but
I
yeah.
like them. They got a great band.
Yeah, the show's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, it's
They're
really
a
it's really
terrific
cool.
band back there. I like $1 Million Quartet, where you just had Mark in here, Rock of Ages. A lot of good stuff out there. Yeah.
And we were talking. We were hoping that Radiant the Rock Vault does amazing now that they've moved to the
I
Trop.
just was there last night. My ears are still happening. They're still dialing in the sound in this new room.
Yeah, they're used to the
Yeah.
they're used to the Westgate.
Yeah, you know what? And it's interesting because I walked in there and they've been saying, this is more of an more intimate theater. It was like 1,100 seats. It's where the Follies was. How intimate can it be?
Compared to that.
Yeah, the stage is smaller. It's draped off, so only for about 600 people maybe are actually in the show. And man, that show started, and Jay Shellen's snare. It came out like a rocket. Bang! And I'm like, whoa! Through that whole first segment, I'm like, they were trying to get that, but that snare was so loud. I mean, my right ear especially is still feeling it. But they play it great, and the guys are great in the show.
Yeah,
And I
they're
dig
all-
that show a lot.
Yeah.
I hope it works for them. Everybody needs that show to work. The hotel, the producers, the musicians, everybody. All of them do. I like it a lot. One of my
Well,
favorites.
we want to thank you for being on the show.
Anytime,
Good
man.
time.
Yeah.
Anytime.
You're also responsible for doing the first article on Chris Phillips when he came to town.
I was the first person to interview Chris Phillips at all in Las Vegas. Zoe Bowie. Yep.
Yeah.
And before I met him, I interviewed him on the phone. Yeah. I always say that's my claim to fame. Yeah, I never let him forget it. But he did correct me the other night. He said that Robin Leach, my colleague, was the first one to interview him in person. And I said, by then you were old news. By the time you made it to Las Vegas, everybody was tired of you already. Rock's Lounge, he opened Rock's Lounge at the Red Rock.
That's where I saw him. Yeah, back when it first opened.
Yep. Yeah, him and Marley.
Yeah, still partying with them.
Yeah.
He comes on the show quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a good guest.
Yeah, he's
Get him
fun.
to show up. I mean, he gets lost a lot. He doesn't do the math very well.
Yeah, that's why he has to have Lydia with him.
Yeah, Lydia actually, for real, keeps the compass. She's in navigation. She's the compass. She's make sure the buses run on time. Everything. Yeah, he was lucky to find her every which way. I love those guys. They're good friends of mine.
All right. Well, to learn more about John Katz, you can read his work, Las Vegas Sun.
Yes, sir.
And you don't even have to be in Vegas to read it. You can read it anywhere.
No, my family in Boise reads it.
There you go.
It's like magic.
And you can follow him on Twitter.
Johnny Katz at Johnny Katz, and on Instagram at Johnny Katz1, the number 1, and that's a circus too.
And you can read him in the Weekly.
Yeah, Vegas Magazine.
There you go.
Sunday. Vegas Inc.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
Good luck trying to avoid him. Like if you're trying to do that, you're not going to have it.
It's
You'll see him all over town, like the Rock and Comedy Show.
Yeah.
righteous.
The plague that is spreading. But again, John, thanks for stopping by.
Got it anytime.